Welcome to another episode of the Red Plates podcast. This is episode 30 something. We're getting super close to IPF Worlds. We just had Garrett Bentley, who is the Team Canada coach, on, and here we have Kwaku Antwi with us today. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Pretty good. I'm not as good as you. I'm not prepping for Worlds or anything. Training's not going crazy, but it is what it is. I'm pretty good. Yeah, we've been looking to have you on for a while, but we figured now is like a really good time getting closer to Worlds, and your training looks really good, man. So how's that going into Worlds?
Uh, it's I'd say it's going well, but I wouldn't say it. Okay, it's good, but I think it could always be a little bit better. But then again, I'm pretty like what is it? What's the word? Critical about stuff like that because like every time I take a set, I'm like, yeah, that could have moved a little bit faster. Especially actually, whenever I watch Kyle lift something, like when he squats, I'm like, fuck, that moves fast. I gotta make mine moves faster. or, or
You and
like
me
when he
talking about the
pulls.
bench, bro. You and Evan and Liam, bro. What's up with all the 93 benches in Canada? I mean, like you guys are benching all 205, 210.
Yeah. But yeah, once I learn how to squat, dude, ooh, once I get better at
But you know
squatting,
what's
it's
funny
like,
is I think me and Luke have talked about it before. Is like you look like you're built like pretty good, like overall for all three. Like obviously your leverage pretty good for the deadlift and bench, you get in a good position. But even squat, like it looks like you'd be built like pretty good to squat. But I guess it's just like we've talked about this, like I guess the length of your shin, like you got to get so low to hit depth.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So because I used to think the exact same thing. Like when I first started powerlifting, I was with like Ravens powerlifting, and actually I had spoken to at the time Eric was on the team and Phil Brome, and they were like, "Oh yeah, like your leverages are gonna be really good for all three, all that type of stuff." And I was like, "Sick! I'm so stoked to do all this type of stuff." And then everything started blowing up except for my squat. And I think I got stuck at like 495 for like I want to say like 3 years, and I was like, "Wow."
Wow.
but 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 I think I'm starting to figure it out now. And as long as if I could change one part of my body, I'd probably just get like slightly longer shins. I think I'd be good.
I feel like that's the give and take though. That helps with the deadlift lockout being like right at the knees, you know?
Yeah. It does help that I have gorilla arms, but
Yeah. I feel like Nick Mander's also built similar to that, where like his shin seems like it's pretty short. So like on the squat, it's hard for him to like get down there. But then on the pull, it looks
yeah.
like the lockout position is like so low.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his leverages are, I'd say his leverages are maybe a little more favored for squat though, because he has a slightly larger or longer torso, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
but at the same time, like if your shin can't, or if your knee can't translate forward, then it doesn't really matter how upright you can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you definitely have like the mass. Like you look like when I've seen you, I mean, even this last nationals, like you're a jack dude. And I think, how tall are you? Like, fi-
Like 5'6", 5'7".
yeah. So, and like you're very filled out in the frame. Like you look like you would just squat a house. So maybe, maybe it's coming.
Yeah. Like every time I look at my legs, I'm like, there's no reason these legs can't squat 700 pounds. Like come on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's looking better. Like you look a lot more it's like in a better groove, I'd say. Like when I watch your squats before it was like you come all the way down, then you can almost like pitch all the way forward and then grind out the rep, but it looks more smooth now. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely something that I've been working on. Actually, like I what I generally like to do when if I'm workshopping any of my lifts is like I'll take a look at people who are proficient in whatever movement it is. So for the squat, actually both of you guys, even Agatha, Gustav, Emil, all of them, I kind of just take a look at the way that they're moving. And obviously they have different leverages and all that jazz, but they have specific things that they do, like whether it be head position, um, T spine extension, kind of where they shift their hips or how they break into to actually start the movement. I've been just taking like small pieces here and there, and it's slowly coming together. And who knows, maybe maybe next year's I'll squat 300 kilos or something. That'd be
Hmm.
cool.
You find that's like helpful though, because one thing obviously I'd be studying the bench press. I'd be watching a lot of people like that have big benches, obviously. And I find like sometimes when you do that, like you pick up on all these things that a lot of good lifters do. And like I can end up spinning my wheels because I'm like trying all these different techniques and like whatever, versus like just kind of like sticking with like what I know has worked for me and like just trying to get more jacked, like progress that technique and stuff like that. Like do you find
Yeah.
like taking things from other lifters has helped your squat, or would you say like you try to mess with things too much?
Um, I'd say there would be some diminishing returns. I'd say, yeah. Like there are some times where I try something like, oh, this is fantastic. Like for instance, like T spine position. Like I used to be really, really extended and try to like fight to be upright. And one thing I noticed with a lot of the best squatters, even yourself, Kyle, like you guys keep your rib cage relatively down. Everything's kind of stacked on top of each other. And I started doing that, and everything felt a bit better. I will say, like, it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm looking at their form as a whole. I'm kind of looking at how their body moves in tandem, like together, right? So if there's a specific groove that that person hits, sometimes I try to copy, like if the, like let's say, for instance, let's say their bar path moves straight up and down, and my bar path is kind of wonky. I'm like, okay, their bar path is straight up and down. That's definitely optimal. What do I need to change to achieve that? And by taking a look at that, it's like, okay, they're pushing their hips back ever so slightly more than I do. Then I think I'm like, okay, well, I have a slightly longer legs, so I might need to push my hips back farther to stay in balance and so on. So it's not necessarily just blindly copying. It's more so like, what can I use that they're doing and apply it to myself for my build? And like, yeah, it can be like the smallest thing. Like for instance, again, actually with you, Kyle, I stole the way that you pull slack on deadlift. So like I noticed that you would put a lot of tension into the bar, almost to the point where it's like the bars would pop off, almost pop off the floor, right? And I was like, I wonder why he does that. I tried it a few times. I was like, okay, this gives me the feedback to know where I need to be before I start pulling. And then I didn't don't do it the exactly the same way as you because obviously you're different. Your starting position is different. And once I got that kind of like that point down, I was like, okay, now everything kind of just pops off the floor. I'm like, okay, cool. So it's not necessarily the actual motion that I'm copying, but it's the thought process that I'm trying to copy, like trying to get that specific feeling that whatever person is looking for.
Yeah, that makes sense. You take like a couple little things. And it's funny you say that because like my slack pull is something that I'm trying to like change because obviously like I've screwed up past couple meets where I'm really aggressive with the slack pull, like to the point where sometimes the plates do come off the floor. And obviously like that's not allowed either. So there's that. And also with like the hook grip, like I found like trying to be a little more patient with the wedge and like keeping like the grip, just feeling a bit more secure. I think part
Mhm.
of it before too was I was gripping on the smooth, so that didn't really work too well. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm the same way. Like I'll take like you see a lot of people now, like with bench, for example, that are adopting more of like a sink and a press. And I've
Mhm.
messed around with that like so many times, and it just doesn't feel good for me, which is funny because like I have this big long range of motion. So you think like, okay, like I'm never gonna have the most efficient bench press anyway. So you think like a soft touch would be kind of dumb, but it's just always felt better for me. So yeah,
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah. Like with that too, like I find the the thing with powerlifting too, it seems like there's always going to be like an form. So like before, everyone was soft touching because it's like, oh, your range of motion is shorter. Like it's so much better. Like if you have a shorter range of motion, you're gonna be able to press more. You can stay more stable. Blah 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 blah. And then like one person who had a big bench was like, nah, I like sinking. And then everyone was like, hold up, wait a minute, let me try sinking. And they're like, holy shit, this is revolutionary. But realistically, it's probably just the people who tried it were like, hey, this is actually a bit better for me specifically. And
Yeah.
then now everyone kind of adopted that type of thing. But at the same time, like I've even tried sinking, or I used to sink, and I can't go back. I hate it. Like it feels like my shoulder's gonna like pop out of its socket if I try to sink. So it's
Well,
just
one thing I think Trevor and I have noticed, like with your bench, for example, is I think in the meet, it seems like, say, your first or second attempt, you do sink like a little bit, I guess, maybe to make depth more convincing, like elbow depth wise. And then
Mhm.
as you go up, it's like your benches seem like they just get faster. Like it's like your third attempt moves the best, but I'm assuming that's just because you're putting yourself in a better position. Like once you're like
Um,
already on the board, you know.
honestly, I think it's mainly because so my first attempt, what I'm generally thinking is my butt don't come up
Yeah.
and don't jump the press command because I don't know what the press command is going to be until after that first command. So my second, it generally gets faster because I'm getting used to what the press command is going to be. Because for me, it feels like an eternity. It feels like I could do like all my chores by the time they give me the press command, right? So I think just being slightly less in my head for the second and the third, especially the third, because at that point I'm just thinking, okay, just press really fucking hard, just really throw that off your chest. Whereas in the first two attempts, generally I'm thinking, okay, like make sure you listen, don't jump the command, don't let your butt come up, and by the time I get two of three, it's like okay, my third is probably going to be a smaller jump from my second, so I don't have to worry about it feeling too heavy in my hands. And I already got the form down and the like the mental preparation from the first two, so it's like just rinse and repeat. It's third is for me. I find the third lift generally the easiest because it's like I can just turn my brain off. I just do it.
Yeah, I think on bench, like the last two times I've watched you compete, your third actually looks easy or the exact same as your opener.
Yeah, and at the same time with that too, like my bench is a very has a very fast fall off. So like even when I'm training, like if you've watched any of like the high rep stuff I do, like if I do like a set of 8, the first 6 or 7 will move exactly the same, and then the last one I'll kind of hit like a small sticking point, and that's like usually it's like okay, that was pretty fucking hard when it hits a sticking
Yeah.
point on my
It's like when
bench,
you
but
do like 170 for 8, and I'm like, chill the fuck out, man. What's going on here? Yeah.
yeah.
So you don't actually intentionally like on your opener, like you're never intentionally sinking it just to make like the depth more convincing. It just kind of is more keeping the butt down.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
The only time I'll make any adjustments like that is if I get called for something. Like if, like I think at nationals, um, they called like my left arm or something like that. So for that one, I intentionally was like, yeah, I'm gonna put this through my rib cage so it looks good. But yeah, generally I'm just like, okay, I just tried to make everything like as stable as possible for the first two, then just really push it for the third.
Yeah, I think I've seen in your training, like your butt will come up somewhat often for heavy singles. And I think
Mhm.
Nick Manders or someone commented, have you ever tried a butt down variation?
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, because like I'm pretty sure that day specifically too. Like I was crashing out because my butt was like consistently popping, and I think I was like 2 or 3 weeks out, and I was like, "It's over. I'm gonna fucking bomb because I can't keep my butt down." It's like the worst thing was like the worst part about it was like it was happening at like 172, and I was like, "This is like
Oh,
30 kilos below. Like this shouldn't be happening." And I was talking to Nick about it, just like troubleshooting. I was like, "Okay, like maybe it's foot pressure. I don't know, like flexibility, blah 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 blah." And then, yeah, at that point, it was like, "Have you just tried keeping your butt down?" And I was so enraged. I was like, "Yes, I fucking tried that." But the worst part about it is it actually worked because I was just like, "Keep my butt down," and then it stayed down, and I was like, "Wow, okay." Like sometimes you just need to tell yourself, "Just do it," and yeah, half the time you'll do it, but yeah, yeah,
I find too, like I have a client that's competing in like a couple weeks, and we were kind of like struggling with that. Like his butt started to pop, like when he got to whatever, like getting close to opener range. So we're like, oh shit, okay, we gotta fix this. And I feel like if you just warm up, like thinking the entire time, okay, keep my glutes glued to the bench, then it just kind of
yeah.
like primes your leg drive to kind of be like that. And like the thing is, like when your butt pops like that, like a lot of time it doesn't even really help you. It's not like it's making your top end bigger. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of is like screwing us. You don't really need to do that, is what I'm telling him. So. Yeah, should
Yeah,
be
and
good.
like there have been like um, certain technique adjustments that I've done to make it so that it doesn't pop. Like one thing that I every time now it's like once I get to like 4 weeks out, like I just start implementing it. But it's just like squeezing the bench with my knees. So like even if my butt wants to pop, I physically can't because I'm like attached to the bench. It takes a lot of like a lot. It's like very mentally tiring and physically tiring. So I don't generally do it throughout, but throughout the last 4-ish weeks I do it, and it's like okay, it's fine, and it's like a nice little blanket because it's like okay, if it is popping, I just need to focus, squeeze the bench, and yeah, it's done. I don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah.
I think it depends how your legs are built a lot too. Like similar, like on like how we talked about, your shins are pretty short. Like you're able to get your knees like quite below your hips.
Mhm.
So, like it
Yeah.
helps kind of push them up, and like hugging the bench like that is
Mhm.
pretty good position. But for my guy, it's like he's way longer shins and he's kind of out wider. So it's like, okay, what do we do here? Because we don't want to screw around completely with his foot position. We're like 2 weeks out.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's always tough. Yeah, I've actually experimented with like a lot of different feet positions, specifically for bench. And like I used to do like this weird thing where I'd have my feet far out but like turned in. So, but
Okay.
it worked. It worked super well. Like the amount of press I was able to get from it. But now it's like if I do that, it feels like my ACL is gonna tear. So
Yeah.
like, I can't do that anymore.
I imagine it feel weird on your hips too. No, like how are you extending your hips when your feet like they're so rotated in? It just works. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know how it worked. I couldn't explain to you how it worked, but for whatever reason it did. Like I would that was yeah, I would basically just like try stuff because I was like, you know what, I'm not competing in a while and just like mess around. I'm like, hey, this feels good. Do it for 3 weeks, and then I was like, I can't not do it because if I don't do it, everything feels disgusting. Like it felt like just not good. So, but yeah, now I've adopted a more orthodox way of doing things.
You had like your toes pointed in and your heels out.
Yeah, so it was like,
Oh my god.
um, so like you know how you see like a lot of wide benchers like that put
Yeah.
their feet really far out.
Mm.
Basically did that, but it always felt like the force was pushing up, and I was like, I don't know how to change that. So I was just like playing with toe angle. So yeah, it was just like my feet would be in and really far out, and it was just like it's like yeah, it was like almost like you're trying to drive your knees out, but instead of going forward. So it's like my foot wants to roll over, but you grippy shoes and it's just at that end range. So
That's weird.
yeah.
My hip would just explode if I tried that.
That's what I was
I'd push
thinking.
off my chest and go,
And the knees wouldn't like that either, especially if
no.
it was a grippy floor. Like that's kind of scary. It seems like.
Yeah. Like yeah, actually now that I think about it, it probably was closer to like are you guys familiar with like locking positions? Like how if you internally rotate everything,
Mm.
yeah, like that's the locking position that your body likes. I think it was just trying to mimic that position just with my leg. But yeah, it never felt natural, but felt strong.
But speaking about like trying people's like technique, I know you put out that bench tutorial, and I was trying a lot of the things you were saying. The one that like didn't really work was hugging it with my thighs or my with my knees, because yeah, it just felt weird. Like you said, it was like mentally tiring because I'm like doing that, and I'm thinking about holding positioning, and it was just a lot. But the
Yeah.
tutorial is really good though. I did like it, and I asked you a few things about it. But that part, I was like, no, I can't do this.
Yeah, yeah. Like again, I only do that like when it's getting serious. I'm like, okay, everything has to be fucking perfect. But yeah, like too mentally tiring. I when I bench, I don't want to have to think. I want to be like, okay, this is a break before I deadlift. but yeah,
Yeah, and then I've seen too, like this was a while ago. I think it was maybe after last Worlds, you had missed, I think, on grip, right? And then you tried mixed grip again, but now your
Mhm.
grip has been pretty good. So what have you changed that has really helped it?
um, I basically threw out everything that everyone else said, which was let it hang in your hand, and I was because like that's not intuitive to me, right? Like they would always say like, yeah, let it hang in your hand. You want it to like fall at the lowest part, all that jazz. And I was like, okay, I would try to do that. I would try to start in the lowest part, and it would always feel like it would still slip down. So what I did was like, I'm just gonna grip it normally, but in a hook grip position. So it's like farther in my hand, and it feels significantly better. Like my thumb is long enough that I can basically like wrap around the full bar and like put it sideways. So like if the bar is here, I kind of put my thumb along and over and under, and then just like grab really, really tight. And then it still sits in like that first knuckle, but it can't slide anywhere. So it definitely takes a toll on the skin of your thumb, but but yeah, it feels way more secure. I'd much rather obliterate my thumb and make the lift than not obliterate my thumb and drop the lift. So
Yeah. Does the thumb go all the way to like your ring finger? Like, is it like that deep?
like I can get to that point, but it doesn't feel comfortable. I generally
Yeah.
sit around middle finger. It'll sit like right in the nook between the two. So like
Okay.
middle finger, ring finger. Yeah, I can see have pretty big hands.
Yeah. But that's why I stopped hook because like my thumb is not long at all and it's stubby. So it's like nah, like if I tried anything, it would either tear or if I tried too narrow, like or let it really hang like everyone says, it just felt like as soon as if I even like move the bar a bit out of like that perfect bar path, it's done. And so I
Yeah,
was like, no, man, like I can't keep doing this. Like I can't like keep using my grip as my only excuse as to why my deadlift is garbage, you know?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, because yeah, for the longest time, whenever it would actually kill me inside because I would know that I could pull whatever it was, but the instant you feel it start to slip, you like almost try to catch it, right? And you're like, don't stop, don't drop. But but yeah, like once you start feeling it slip, and this would be like stuff I've deadlifted before, and it's just like, oh, on the day of I can't do it, and that infuriated me. I wanted to flip the table, so so yeah, that was my change. That worked for me. Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like you said on the bench. Like you just want to lay there and just bench and not think about like six different things. It's
yeah,
like with the hook, if you're thinking about like setting it like absolutely perfectly and like overthinking it, and then you go and wedge into the bar, it just doesn't feel the same.
yeah. And then if you push the bar slightly forward, it's like, yeah, that's a wrap. Like you feel
Yeah.
it roll in your hand. You're like, yep, I should just stop now, type thing.
Yeah, that's like for me, like because I do that pretty aggressive slack pull, like I can feel if it's gonna be good or not. Like you know what I mean? So
Oh
if
man,
subconsciously I'm like, okay, it's not holding too, there's not too much friction there, it's done. Because
yeah,
yeah,
that's
it's like I'll
valid.
wedge in and like I'm just trying to rush to lock out because like the grip doesn't feel secure. So if you don't have that like sense of security in your grip, the whole pull is just gonna be a mess.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like 3 weeks out from Worlds now, right? Or a bit less.
Yeah, I think 18 days or something. 18 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess will you have some big lifts coming up in the next couple weeks, or how do you guys normally do?
Um, honestly, I'm a little unsure. So I think this next week, I'm not sure if I have 2 more weeks of of legitimate lifting, or 1 more week. Um, because my week is kind of staggered. So my day one starts on Wednesday and then ends on Monday. So in this case, because I'm competing on the Thursday, I'm not sure if it's going to be like I do 1 week of heavy lifting, or my last week this after this week, so this upcoming Wednesday, and then do like a heavier squat and then a lighter deadlift, or if it's going to be like heavy, and then the back end of that last week is going to be lighter. So I do have some heavy lifting left to do. It's just I'm not sure how many heavy. It's either I have 3 heavy lifts to do or like 5 heavy lifts to do. So, but but yeah, we'll see. I'd like to hit probably like I don't know, like 850 in the gym. I think that'd be pretty cool. That'd probably set me up for like 875 ish, which would be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
That's because like I have like I have like a bunch of plans in my head because yeah, yeah, how can you not think of this type of stuff, right? But like I'd love to deadlift like 370 plus ish, bench like 212, 215, and squat anywhere from 282 to 287. But if I don't squat or bench what I want, I at least want to try and just take the world record just for 2 months before either Petrie takes it at World Games or whoever takes it at World Games. But yeah, just that I want to close the gap a little bit between all the other international lifters because like getting dookied on it doesn't feel good.
We were saying like this year, I think you're nominated 5th, right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty sweet. There was a bunch of like reserves there before, but now everything's out. It's like it's pretty much those top 3, like Gustav, Keiko, Emil, and then Christian and you. So it's not.
Yeah, the only thing is there's like I've done like a fair bit of homework on a lot of the other people and like there was a gentleman from France, I think his name is Guillaume. He totaled 853, so he should technically be nominated higher than me, but his nomination total would have been from like I think a non-national competition. I think it was like almost like a SBD Raleigh or something, but for France. And then there's a guy from Algeria. I don't know how real this is. The guy had an 850 nominated total, but was then reduced down to 25, 25, 25. So I'm not sure if he just put that in because they were like, yeah, this is fake as shit, or they just couldn't find it, right? So like yeah, there should be like a bunch of strong people, and then on top of that, Alex Ang from Singapore / Canada, his training's going like really really well. So I think he would probably be fighting for a top 8 position as well, but he's just got bumped into the B group. Yeah, it should
probably
be.
Try
It should
to
be
pull
fun.
something pretty large too, right? I'm assuming he'll probably take it.
Yeah.
Is it 373?
Yeah, 373.5. So.
Okay.
See, I don't even care about going 374. I just want to go 375 just so I can see 7 reds. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Yeah.
I don't know if you're gonna convince them to load the extra kilo that they don't need to.
You know, I've thought about that. I've been like laying in bed like, how am I gonna convince Garrett to let me just like 1.5 kilos? If I'm gonna fail 374, or if I'm gonna fail 375, I'd probably fail 375 or 374. So just let me have that extra kilo and let me just look cool, at least for the picture for when it pops off the ground, you know.
I know with them it's a lot about like the team placing and the points and stuff too, right? So I guess if you already have like whatever placing solidified, maybe they won't care.
Yeah, because that'll probably be what, like second last pull, maybe last, second or second last, because I know Emil's training for deadlift is going very very well. So and he wants to pull 370 something, as he's said in his story, 370x. So it could either end with myself getting it or Emil getting it, but yeah.
His deadlift train looks like, because he's doing 3 times a week pulls now, right? And it seems like every day is like 320 plus, like deadlifting 700 pounds 3 times a week.
Yeah, I don't know how he recovers from that. That's actually what, especially like, because it's not even like his other lifts aren't heavy either. Like if you're consistently taking, if you're consistently taking like over 600 pounds and benching over 475, like God damn, his knees must feel some type of way. His elbows.
I think he squats 3 times a week too, and it's like pretty wide stance squatter. It's like his poor adductors, man.
Yeah, like,
how are they doing this?
It's the mill cross that you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
That's nasty.
Yeah.
If you like look at him, oh my bad, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, if you look at him, like he looks so like dense, like he's obviously very jacked, but his look like it's granite, like in his triceps. Like it's actually crazy. If you have a good look at him, it's just not human.
Yeah, I'm like seeing you in person. I'm like, wow, you're bigger in person than I thought. It's like actually all of them really.
I thought
I think
Gustav doesn't make sense that he's 93. I find when you see him in person, you're like, how?
Yeah. I will say, I think Gustav, out of all the 93 lifters I've seen, I think Gustav looks the most like his Instagram, I guess. He just looks very long though. Like
Yeah.
he should be a 105 because
That's what I mean. Like I think he's tall. I think he's a good like inch or more taller than me, and he's jacked, like he's filled out. So I'm just like, I don't
yeah,
know how you make 93. Yeah.
must be nice, right?
Yeah.
Imagine.
Is
Yeah, he's
Carlos growing this
Segue, we
year?
wanted to talk about Quick-U's nutrition, right?
Oh yeah. Well, actually, quickly what Trevor said, and then we'll go into the nutrition. But is Carlos going?
Um, Pearson Griffin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh,
The thing is,
man.
I was looking. I was scouting him super hard too. Um,
He's
so I was
not he's not
like,
nominated, like he's not in there.
yeah, he's not in there. So at his nationals, he did nationals as a 105, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe he already solidified the spot with Sheffield or something like that, or whatever. And then he just stopped posting, and I was like, did this guy die? And
Oh
it's like,
damn.
and I'm thinking like he's sponsored, so he has an obligation to post too, right? So
Yeah.
like something must have happened, or he's doing something dicey. But
That's weird because he was kind of popping off too. Like he did
He
like
was,
he did
yeah.
the squat world record at Sheffield, right? And then like he was
yeah,
getting up there with the other top 93s.
yeah,
He
and like
on-
even his deadlifts, like I do think him going 105 is probably the way to go because he's by far the largest 93 I think I've ever seen. Like he kind of dwarfs other people. Like his legs are enormous. He seems like he's maybe because I'm saying this from from a 5'6" person looking up, but but he looks like he's like, I don't know, I'm gonna say like maybe 5'11", close to 6 foot. And he's diced. Like he's inflated. Like you look at him like every time he pulls, I'm like, dude, I'm scared for your bicep. It looks like it's gonna go because it's like it's
Yeah.
just like it's popping, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I was surprised that he wasn't competing. But yeah, if he goes up to 105, that I think that'd be pretty cool to see. It'd be pretty cool to see.
Is he signed up as a 105 or no?
No, he's not. I don't think he's going to Worlds this year.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what happened. Probably something because he was doing strongman and he was doing everything. Like it seems like he loves competing. And I think
Mhm.
I remember when he went on the King of the List podcast last year, like he opened it up by saying like, "Why haven't you had me on yet?" or something like, like paging Ryan.
I'm just looking at his Instagram, like he hasn't even posted like in 2025 yet. Like it was from September 2024, and it's just an Instagram live of him like eating. And then he just disappeared.
He was the best. Didn't last year his plane get there like 2 hours before weigh-ins
Yeah,
or some
so
shit like that?
that was absolutely insane. Like, so I think it was he touched. So his plane got delayed. I think he was supposed to come in the day before. Plane got delayed, or he missed his flight, or something like that. Gets in. It's like a 1 hour drive to the hotel, and then from the hotel, it's like a 10-minute drive. And he gets there, weighs in, misses weight, and then I think he starts like he puts on a sweatsuit, starts spitting, does all that type of stuff, and I think he legitimately makes weight with like 30 minutes left. So he made weight, starts warming up, and like everyone's like, "Damn, how is this guy going to just lift?" But he's like completely dehydrated, right? And he's warming up, and like after every warm up, he's just screaming, "Home, sweet home!" And it's like I'm like, damn, this guy's insane. Like to be able to, and the thing is, he's not even squatting light too, right? Like, then the one time I've water cut, squatting felt like death, and this guy is just by himself in a warm up room, screaming "Home, sweet home," dehydrated out of his mind, squatting huge amounts of weights, and then goes on to, I think he went like 2 for 3, which is like, okay, this guy's a freak.
He hit the world record too, didn't he? He scored like 335.
Something like that. Yeah, like imagine if he had enough time to recomp.
The way he squats is nuts too, because he's so like tall and long, and he squats high bar and just like waiting for his knees to just explode.
Yeah, like I think he's just a brute force strong kind of guy because like the way he
Yeah.
benches, the way he deadlifts, everything is just like his deadlift is effectively like an RDL.
Yeah.
So it's like this guy is just a freak of nature, really.
Yeah, that is insane. Him and Gavin, was it Gavin at that World Championship going for the record back and forth?
I think at Sheffield they were both there.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah. I think it
it's a
was at
crazy
Sheffield.
story. And he's a character. Hopefully he comes back. Hope he's well because that is pretty weird that he just
Yeah,
stopped.
yeah. The conversations I've had with him, he's a really, really nice guy, down to earth, and Jason just kind of wants everyone to try their hardest, really. So yeah, he's a cool dude, cool
Yeah.
dude.
I was speaking of you said water cutting. The one time you did it, it felt like hell. Like you didn't feel your legs under you or your belt, whatever it was. So I was like watching your page. You have a few or maybe a few posts up about nutrition, and you hired your nutritionist like 2 years ago or so, Maria, right?
Yeah. So I I hired her actually even might even be longer because it was like yeah, it would have been 2022. Yeah, it's about 3 years now. But yeah, I did my first water cut. I think it was like 2018, and it was like a whole like sodium and water manipulation. There was no gut cutting or anything back then, right? So, or at least it wasn't popular. And I didn't know I was supposed to cut out sodium until like for the last day, and I didn't cut out sodium. And I remember I was taking hot baths, and I also had a digital scale too. So I was taking hot baths, and I stepped on the scale, and it wasn't moving because I think it basically just got set to that number because it's a digital scaler, right? So I'm like, oh my god, like I'm 84 or something. At the time, I was going to compete as an 83. I'm 84 the night before. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm overweight. And no one told me that you lose weight overnight. I should have known this, but no one told me you lose weight overnight. Um, and I'm freaking out. And I think by the time, like, I call Riley, my wife now, girlfriend at the time, and I'm like, hey, I feel like really lightheaded doing this. So, like, just in case, like, can you stay on the phone with me? Because, like, I might faint and you might need to call 911, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, yes, but what the fuck? And so there's a certain point where I think it was like my sixth 15-minute or 20-minute round. I just hadn't dropped a pound or like anything. It was just autocorrect to the 84. And I was like, fuck it. If I don't make weight, I don't make weight. Screw it. It's not worth it. And then I weighed myself that morning and I think it said 83.8. And I was like, yep, screw it. It's over. I don't care. And then I went in, weighed in, and I was 81.8 or
Damn.
something. And I had slept completely dehydrated, didn't drink anything going there, and I think that was the worst sleep of my life. Like I would wake up like every 30 to 45 minutes. Um, like my piss was basically like fluorescent yellow. Like it was like radioactive. And then I remember squatting and my opener felt like a 9.5. I took my last warm up and I was like, whoa, that was really, really hard. I'm like, you know what? Like everything always feels pretty hard when I squat. I tried justifying it to myself. Everything always feels hard when I squat, so it'll be fine. So I take my warm up or my opener, and it's like a brick. Like I unracked it, and I was like, oh, whoa, this is heavier. And I've hit this for like a set of 4. I'm like, okay, I've hit it for a set of 4. It should be fine. I remember I went down, tried coming back up, and it felt like I didn't have legs, and it was just like my torso was just like slowly shifting through space. I was like, wow, what the hell? And then I took my second attempt, which was 2.5 kilos heavier, and it moved the same way, but it felt like my head was going to just pop. I was like, okay. Then we went up again, 2.5 kilos for my third. I unracked it and I was like, yeah, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. And I just dropped to the bottom of the hole and just stayed there basically, and they picked it up. But yeah, it was just that experience for me. I was like, yeah, never again am I water cutting. And I think after that meet, I went up to 93, and ever since I just diet into competition because yeah,
What meet
no
was that?
no
Like what
way.
you said it was 2018?
Yeah, I think 2018 or 2017. It was provincials Um, actually, it might have been 2016 because it was after my first meet that I did in Seneca. So it was might have been 2016 September, I want to say. Yeah. Um, yeah, it was an 83, my first and last 83 meet because at the time everyone was an 83. Everyone was cool in 83. I was like, man, I want to be 83.
I was saying to these guys before you came on because I don't know if you remember, but I feel like this was a Sheridan meet or something like that because that's how I got into lifting too, was like the collegiate meets. And
Mhm.
I think I was competing at 83. I was really light. I was like 78 or 79. And I remember you showed up for the weigh-ins and someone was like, "Oh shit, we're all dead." Like I guess they knew you were already really strong back then.
It's funny because like if we look back now, objectively or subjectively in powerlifting, we weren't that strong. Like it was like what for a 400 votes, 400 dots type thing, and that was like the wow, that's like you're really strong. You get to 450 and like whoa, this guy's a god type thing. But like yeah, I think I had like a 390, like a 390 Wilks. Um, yeah, I think it was 390, and yeah, people were like, wow, you're so strong. And every time I'm like, bro, I'm not actually that strong. Like
I
you
remember back
talk,
then, yeah, 400 Wilks was like, oh, like that's sick. Like you were like really good. I remember at the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
actually, I even then I remember watching you guys lift, and I was like, these fuckers are gonna squat more than me, and they're lighter than me. This is like, what the fuck
Well, there
is
was like
this?
after that meet, my first like introduction to the OPA CPU, whatever. Like I did a central championships and I think I was 74 then because I competed against Luke. And I think
Mhm.
Luke squatted 500 and I was like, what the hell is happening? Because I thought I was like a strong squatter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember watching. Yeah, I actually remember watching Luke squat like yeah, exactly like you're saying, 500. And I
Yeah.
think at the time I squatted like 232 or something. I was like, "There's no way. It's not possible."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah, I don't fully remember you competing around that time because Kyle was doing those collegiate meets, but I never had done any of them. I think I refed one of like the because they did like kilo plates and they did pound plates the next day. I would like
Mhm.
ref like the pound plate ones for like just with the gym that I was with, but I never competed at them and I don't really remember. But I did swipe back through your Instagram and I seen some of your lifts from back
Yeah,
then. But I
yeah,
think even back then you were attempting like 305 like on the deadlift.
yeah.
You might have got it.
I the last time, or the only time I got 305 in or in competition was nationals.
Hmm.
Every time before I would try it, and I would either fall forward, rip my hand, or just it wouldn't budge off the floor. So there was like a good 2 years that it was just like I would try 305, and in different jumps too. Like sometimes I'd open really light, take larger jumps, get stapled. I would take open heavier, take smaller jumps, hand tears. Then it's like then there was one time I literally pulled it and they just gave me reds. I'm like, why'd you give me reds? And they were like, they were like, showing them the video back, and they're like, "Oh, that's a good lift." I'm like, "You gave me reds for that." I was like, oh, I was so mad, but like, because like I'm very much like, if I get something wrong, I'm like, okay, what can I do to fix it? Specifically in that moment, I want the feedback instantaneously if I can. And yeah, the fact that they couldn't, I was like, brother, what? Like, come on, like what? But yeah, but yeah, it's just been like actually, well, yeah, once I got past 305, it kind of just took off past that point. But
Hmm. Yeah, I
yeah,
thought it was like 2020 at some Seneca meet or something, the one that I had seen like earlier this morning when I was looking. But I think you said that was the only lift you got or something like that. Or maybe that was the fails. I don't remember, but
yeah. So that one, I hit 305 and I wanted to hit 320. And then I got
hmm.
320 to the top and it dropped out of my hands. It was, that was painful.
Were you were you still hook grip back then or were you mixed?
I was hook grip. Yeah. I think, when did I change? Oh, I know when I changed. I changed to hook grip when I dropped my first attempt at 600 pounds. Like I got it to the top, and I always wanted to hold it for like 2 seconds because like, yeah, look at 600 pounds, cool. And yeah, it dropped, and I was like, never again. I never want to drop a deadlift ever again. And I spoke to my coach. He's like, try hook grip. This is what like a lot of weightlifters use. And he was like, if Liu Xiaojin can rip 500 pounds off the ground and put it overhead using hook grip, you should be able to stand up with however much you're doing. And I was like, yeah, that's fair. And then I proceeded to drop a lot of deadlifts with hook grip.
Yeah, yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's good that you figured it out, and now you seem confident in the grip. I wanted to bring it back about your water cut story. Like, no wonder you hate water cutting. Like, you didn't even just water cut; you like deprived yourself of hydration for like way longer. Like, no wonder you hate it. Did you know how to recomp, or?
So like the what's it called? The protocol was effectively like for every kilo of water I lost, drink 2 liters of water, and then also couple it with potassium, sodium, and that was basically just gotten from Pedialyte. So it was just like a Pedialyte mix that I was told to do, and that was basically the whole protocol, or at least my understanding of the protocol. My coach was very, very thorough, so he had everything kind of laid out, but I was stupid. The easiest way to put it.
Well, I
And
feel like hot baths are also like some of the most like it's one of the most fatiguing ways or like
yeah,
detrimental ways to lose
yeah,
the water weight, right? And doing that
yeah,
the night before too, so you're just spending that entire
Mhm.
night in a severely dehydrated state.
yeah. It was not good. It was
Yeah,
not good.
yeah, that's
Um,
rough.
and then yeah, like I couldn't really eat while trying to rehydrate. Like it just felt like I was consistently bloated, and because I was full off of water, I had no urge to eat anything. So I was effectively lifting on an empty stomach, severely dehydrated, and then like the one thing I did eat, I think I had like a Subway sandwich or something like that because there was a Subway nearby, and yeah, it was just not a good experience. But now things are a lot more cleaned up and manageable, and I don't think I'll do water cutting for a while because I don't think there's a necessity to. Like I can get to weight pretty, I wouldn't say easily, but I can get to weight and it's not too bad. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen with your recap with your nutritionist, you guys were talking about how obviously you're 83, then you go to 93, and then I think you were over, you're like 100, 101 kilos, and
Yeah,
you
I
weren't.
dropped fat.
So, what was the time span from 83 to 100?
That would have been like uh that would have been 4 years.
Okay, okay, good. It wasn't too
But
quick then.
no, but from 93 to because I my heaviest I got to was 103. And from 93, because I had done a competition and then COVID happened and all that jazz. Um, that happened in I think 3 or 4 months. Um, yeah, that's a lot of weight. I think that's fuck. And the main reason that happened was everything closed down, and me being neurotic, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to lose all of my strength instantaneously. And my thought process, I was like, you know what? Like a lot of the time, if you're in a surplus, it's a lot easier to keep strength. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to eat just a ton of food all the time. I'll do body weight squats, I'll do push-ups, and we had like a band. So I took a dowel and put the band around, hooked it on my feet, and would just do squats and good mornings and stuff like that. And then the peak of COVID happened where everyone was playing like Among Us and stuff. I was like, I'm not gonna miss out on Among Us. So like that kind of tanked a bit. And then at the time, 613 was renting out equipment. So like if you kept your membership, they'd give you like a bar and plates. And then we made like a rack out of 2x4s and in a cement pail. We put cement, made concrete in the pail, put like a bunch of varying length 2x4s for each person, so they'd have a place to unrack off of. And we got a bench. It was some of the sketchiest stuff ever because like you would unrack and like we were in a basement that had an unlevel floor and everything would slope to a drain. So like you'd unrack and like you'd be like shifting side to side and stuff, and it was, and then like deadlifting there, we didn't have stall mats, so you're deadlifting direct on concrete in a rented house, and like you're chipping the foundation concrete because you're dropping plates on it, right? So like it was dicey. Um, and then past that point, I had to return everything again, and then I was working. And at that time, I was living with Cam Hughes, and then we got a lot of equipment in our basement. Basically, did the exact same thing, and then I moved to Calgary, and everything was like super shut down there. And at that time, I was like 98 kilos, so I was like, I'm just gonna do what I did before, and I was just huffing food again, and um, yeah, I got to 103, and I was like, it would be like I would be walking the dog and be like slightly out of breath, and I was like, wow, this is not good. So so like um, then I started trying to cut myself, and I was just so infuriated because like I was eating like at one point like 2,000 calories, 2,050 calories, and like my weight wasn't budging, and I was like looking at every single thing. If I had like zero sugar pop, I'd track it, like that type of
Oh wow.
neuroticism, and it just wasn't working. And I was like, what the hell? And one of my clients at the time when I was coaching was like, hey, Maria's my nutrition coach. Like, maybe you should give her a try. I was like, yeah, why not? Might as well have someone else do the thinking, because if I do it, I'm probably going to flip flop a little too much. Some objectivity would be good. So I started with her, and she got me down to 97 ish kilos in, I want to say like 12 or 16 weeks. So it was like a good steady progression of weight loss. Then I did the strength edge open because I wanted to qualify for nationals. And yeah, I hit massive PRs there because I was just fat. and it was basically just training for 2 years in this, what's it called? Just like expanded version of myself. So got pretty strong. And then after that, I cut down all the way down to 93. And I was eating like, to get down to 93, I think the lowest calories I was eating was like, I want to say 1870.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was it was brutal. I remember there was a point in time at the venue. Um, I had all like my food like pre-cooked and everything. It was basically like bodybuilder style, and I was watching people, and I just like wasn't paying attention about eating. So I was just eating my food. I'm like, wow, this is great. I got a show. I'm eating my food. This is fantastic. And 3 p.m. hits, and I went to reach in my bag to get my lunch, and I was done. And I was like, no. So everyone was going out and getting food, and Riley, my wife, was like, "Can I go? Like, I don't want to, like, I don't want to sit in the dark room with you." And I was like, "Yeah, that's fair." So I was literally just in a hotel room by myself, lights off, just basically just staring at the ceiling. Or I try to watch a movie and then get bored and do something else. It was horrendous. It was like 8 hours of just pain. But hey, made weight, one on the day, so I can't complain.
Yeah, that's a very low caloric intake. But I think I've seen now you're eating more, right? Like what is your cut into this meat? Is it that low as well?
No, no, this one's like significantly better. So now I'm eating about 2,500 calories. It's like 2430 to be exact. And that's like really, really manageable. I can have like 4 meals in a day, or 3 meals, or even like I could have one meal if I really wanted, but like I won't. Um, but I don't generally feel too hungry. Um, it's just supplements with like a little bit of walking here and there. I hit my steps, but yeah, it's a lot easier than it was before. Um, but I think potentially after this year, I might have to do some type of body weight manipulation, maybe like a gut cut or something like that, just because now it's starting to eat a little bit into just like enjoying life, right? Like if someone wants to go out to get a burger or something like that, I'm like, can I have a burger right now? Like, is it the stage where I can have a burger or a steak or whatever the hell, right? So I think probably next year, maybe in the year after that, I'll probably start doing like gut cuts, and then maybe years after that, I'll do a water cut. Who knows? Maybe I can retire from powerlifting without having to do water cuts at an international level. That'd be great.
I think they're not nearly as bad as as you think they are, but like from that first impression. But yeah, it's definitely not. It's definitely not fun.
Yeah. Oh, it's quite. I had tried. You tried doing like a mini water cut because I was sitting around. I think this was like 8 months ago. We're doing like a trial run to see how my body would respond, and I think I got 2 days in. I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just dieting. I'm not. I'm not doing this," because it was like the amount of water. I was at work too, so like my productivity went down so much because I was just walking to the washroom so often. And I was like, this just isn't practical for me right now. So I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to be a good employee. I can't be
The big thing
can't
that
just be
does suck
spending my
is like
time.
international meets, like traveling while you're water loading. That sucks. Like being on the plane and having to go take a piss every half an hour, or like
Yeah.
even more frequently. That's not
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. I could not do that, especially if there's someone who's just hogging the washroom, like
Yeah.
just sits in there for like 45 minutes.
I know when I've done it, the people around me are like, "What the hell is this guy doing? Like, why is he going to the washroom every like? Is he on drugs or what's?" Yeah,
Yeah, they're feeling kind of like, what is this guy trying to plot something? Like, what's
yeah.
going on?
Yeah, you actually you probably scare them so much. You're just unaware.
I was on like an inside seat too, so like every time
Oh,
I'd get up, I'd have to be like, "Oh, sorry guys, like, can I get through?" And it's
Yeah,
oh
honestly,
man.
at that point, I would have been like, "Hey guys, like, I'm
please,
water cutting." I would just explain the whole thing to them, like, "Yeah, I've had 14 liters of water today. Like,
yeah.
I need to
Well, they would see
piss."
me doing it because I'd have to ask the stewardess to like fill up my water bottle. So like so
Oh.
she'd like fill it up and come back, give me the water, and then the people beside me are just watching me like down this fucking
And
water.
then piss 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
Bro, did you tell her what you were doing, or you just like fill up my water, please? Like, did she
No, I
know?
think I was kind of grumpy at the time. I was like, I'm just getting this shit done.
She
Bro,
probably thought you were
everyone,
hungover or something.
Yeah.
yeah, or just like insane because like the stewardess is probably like, what is this guy doing? Like, why does he
Yeah.
want so much water? Even then he has to pee. Like, why doesn't he just stop drinking? Like, what's going on?
No, that was really rough because that was South Africa. So it was like multiple 10-hour flights and like a layover.
Mm,
And like I couldn't even I was like terribly prepared for this. Like I couldn't eat because this was my low sodium day. So like everything they were bringing me on the flight was like a
yeah,
panzerotti. It's like 2 grams of sodium. Like
Oh,
yeah.
jeez.
like I couldn't eat anything. And I was just like, yeah, it was terrible. And then I arrived and I'm pretty sure like I made weight pretty much like a full like 48 hours out. So I was like below 83 and my face was just like sunken in, like dehydrated for a
Oh,
full day.
jeez.
That was terrible.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, that's another extreme. I think the water cut can be pretty hard, but for me, my experience where I don't like gut cutting because when I did for like the first or second time, first of all, just like mentally, when I'm eating like Ben and Jerry's and I'm like, I'm about to go try and perform, like put my best lifts up and I'm eating like trash, like it just in my mind, it doesn't make sense. But obviously it works because you're still getting the calories in. The other thing was like my stomach did not like that at all. Like eating like because it's just like protein powders and like you can have some like chocolates, you have ice cream, all these things, right? But you want them to not sit in your gut. And so I'm just feeling gross on meat day. I used to take like even Imodium to like kind of stop yourself from like going and like on the day because when you're like bracing into your belt and you're just feeling like, oh God, I'm gonna fart, I'm gonna shit myself. Like it's like no, man. It's
Yeah.
not the move. I
Well,
hate that.
I feel like water cutting could also impact that too, though. Like if you're just like chugging all this water
Yeah.
your body's not used to, and then like if your protocol is I have to drink 2 liters per kilo, it's like if you lost 3 kilos, that's 6 liters of fluid like on top of whatever. So like your stomach
Yeah.
is gonna be in shambles no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's
Yeah.
definitely better ways it's like to do it. Like I feel like as long as you maintain like your regular diet throughout the water load and stuff like that, it's not as bad as what I described for South Africa either.
Yeah, but you still, I find that difficult because like then it just feels like you're like a pinata ready to burst at any moment, right? Because like,
Yeah.
you just had to down like 3 liters. Maybe I was doing it wrong because like you play a video game or something like, ah shit, an hour and a half's passed. I have to drink 2 hour or 2 liters. So you're just trying to
Yeah.
down it, and you're like, oh, I have to have dinner, and then like, yeah, you're having pasta or something, and it's just like everything's just sitting in you, and you're just like, wow, I don't want to move. Like
Yeah.
I'd have to roll down the stairs type thing.
Yeah. I think the gut cutting is definitely less invasive, but like Luke said, like some people won't respond to that either. Like it depends on the foods that you're eating too.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
definitely.
it's like another genetic component because like leverages and muscle mass, all these things for like people like helping the sport. And then even like with cutting, like some people just have like iron stomachs, like they won't be phased by anything. Like you guys know Joe Borenstein. I was at the Arnold that year that he competed, last 75 kilo meet or 74, and he was rehydrating and I was just walking by, and then he was like talking to me, and then he's like, all right, I gotta go, I have to like rehydrate, and he's like eating and chugging water, and I'm like, he cut like 7 kilos or something ridiculous because he was gonna do, yeah, he was gonna do 82, and then he's like, but I wanted to win, it was like 25K, so he's like, obviously I cut because then I will win if he doesn't die, right? Like if he can perform. And so he made weight and he was just recomping. I'm like, how do you feel okay? Like he was telling me he was in the sauna like or something all morning, and just like all these details that were just so strenuous, and I would have died if I was doing them. Like how can you like talk to me right now? Like how you're like so depleted, and he just seemed fine. Like it was just some people are genetically good for that stuff too. Yeah.
I can't even imagine because like I get a bad sleep and I'm like I don't speak coherently. Like if and then like you're dehydrated, you can't sleep, you can't eat. It's like how are you smiling and having a good conversation with someone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
And like
that's the perks of
25
being
Ks.
young.
Yeah, he is very young. It's like 25 Ks on the line. He's about to go compete, and he's just randomly talking to me. Like I didn't go up and like bother him. Like he's talking to me, being like a nice guy. I'm like, bro, like I would be like so like headphones on, like this is 25K that you're going to win. He's just having fun.
Honestly, for me, the recomp part is like the worst part. Like I hate trying to get in all this fluid and food like before I'm about to lift. Like that's like this is the worst. Like because your stomach is just like you're about to compete. Like you know what I mean? Like you're like fired up, whatever. Like my stomach does not want to have all this shit forced into it. I'm just like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's fair.
yeah.
Yeah, like now like I wouldn't say my recomp is as demanding as any of your guys if you're water cutting and so on, but like now I find it significantly easier to recomp because like or recomp because like generally I'll fast for I don't know like 16 hours before. So what I'll generally do now is like sipping on like if I have let's say I weigh in like 92.6 in the morning, like I'll just be sipping on the most dense what's it called Gatorade mixture. So like it'll be like I don't know like 80 grams of the powder and like 200 milliliters of water. So like it's just basically just like a syrup, right? So and just be sipping on that, and then then I'll have my food obviously before, and then basically just swap between Gatorade or some type of electrolyte drink and what's it called and water, and that generally does the trick. But yeah, doing that from like I'll be in needing to do like 3 kilos or what's it called? Yeah, fill in 3 kilos of body weight. That must not be nice. Must not be nice.
Yeah.
So you just diet pretty much till you're at weight nowadays. Like you're like,
Yeah.
do you like to be like underweight the day before kind of thing, or like not necessarily nighttime weight, but
Um. So what I'll generally do is I'll track my nighttime weight for 2 weeks before competition. So I'll get a good gauge of how much I lose overnight, and then um, for my sanity, I do like to hit under 93, maybe like once about a week out. And then once I have seen it happen once, I'm like, okay, it's not going to be it
You
doesn't have to
believe.
be, yeah, exactly. It's not like, it doesn't feel like everything has to line up perfectly for my weight to sit there. It's okay. I know my body can get there. I know what it felt like to wake up at that weight. And I would say I'm very, very in tune with my body as well. Like to the point where when I wake up, when I'm walking to my washroom, there are very specific this sounds so crazy, but there are very specific cues that I can use based off the way that my feet feel, my legs feel, all that type of stuff that tells me if I'm retaining water and going to weigh in heavy or if I'm relatively, what's it called? Like neutral, going to like follow the typical trend, or if I'm definitely going to weigh in light that day. Like by the time I sit up, I'm like, yep, I'm light. Or like,
So you're predicting your weight on the scale before you stand on.
yeah, yeah, basically. And
Just
there've been like 1 or 2 times I've been off, but I'm generally like I have like a 98, 97% completion rate.
dang. Are you guys more aggressive with the calorie restriction further out so that you can eat a bit more like in the last block, or is it you kind of taper down the whole way to the meet?
Um, it really depends on how what I'm responding to. Each time it's been very gradual and not very aggressive of a cut. It's kind of like we'll do like I don't know a restriction of like 100 calories or 200 calories or something like that, and then if there starts to be like a very very big stagnation, that's when we'll do another drop. Or if we're farther out, we'll be like, okay, we're just gonna hang out here for a bit, maybe increase the calories by like something minuscule like 50 or 75 just to actually maintain and feel just a little bit better. I know it seems so negligible, but for whatever reason, that extra 20 carbs brings life back into my eyes. But yeah, generally it'll be like gradual, then like a steady state, and then gradual again. The only time I had to go aggressive was for that first nationals where it was yeah, I was eating 2,000 calories and then it just kind of stopped at like 93.8. And I was panicking and I was like, drop me more calories. I need to make weight. But yeah, yeah, generally pretty gradual. Yeah.
So what changed like since that was 2023 nationals?
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you think like over time is it just like are you being more like active, like getting a higher step count, or do you think it's more metabolism thing? Like you guys have built up your calories over time?
I think it's a little of both. So I was a very, very sedentary person before, like to the point where I wouldn't even fidget like in the slightest. Like if I was sitting still, like I could basically, it would be like I was a statue essentially. And now like I do fidget, like my leg will bounce and stuff like that. And I'm also doing, I make sure that I'm hitting like a proper step count. So I'll probably average like 10 to 13,000 steps every day. And that made a really, really big difference because before it was just like, I don't want to move at all. And that small bit of energy expenditure was the thing that kind of pushed me over the edge to actually hit weight while eating a semi respectable amount of food, right?
That's what the 50 calories is for the fidget energy.
Yeah, basically.
That's why I had to eat so much. I finished so much.
Yeah, and like the thing that always grinds my gears is like I'll hear some other people and they're like, "Man, I just can't gain weight." I'm like, "Oh, well, how much are you eating?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm eating like 5,000 calories." And
No,
I'm
you're
like,
not.
"Bro." Like first, like there's two things. I'm like, if you're eating 5,000 calories, I'm actually genuinely jealous of you that you can go through that amount of food. And two, I don't think you're eating 5,000 calories, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like there is a huge genetic factor because we were just talking about this too. And like right now, like Luke, for example, is eating, I think, more calories than I am. But like when I was making the push, like to get to 93, like I was like having 500 carbs a day, like eating close to 4,000 calories. And I feel like that's kind of, I know you're under 4K, Luke, but I think you're eating a lot right now, right?
Yeah, it's like 30. Yeah, 35.50. So it's a good amount. Like I have to start my day. It's like kind of like the water loading. Like you have to like start your day with like a good pace, or else like it's like I get to the end of the day and I'm like, oh God. So
Yeah.
it is a lot of food, but I like it, obviously. I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like what I'm eating now. Like when I was coming up, like I didn't enjoy eating that much food.
Well,
It's
how much are you
fun
eating
for like
now?
a few weeks and then you get over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, now no, I'm chilling now like around 3,300 and I kind of maintain here. I'm actually like dropping a little bit. I'm probably gonna do similar things. Like last 2025 nationals, I did a water cut to make 93 for the first time and it was like very marginal, but I still like I would rather just kind of like be at weight and see how it goes. So,
Yeah. Yeah, no, like that's another thing. It's like if especially like if you can wow, I'm giving tips to the enemy.
keep them coming.
But, especially if you're training at the weight, it just feels you know exactly what to expect. That there's no like guesswork on, oh, am I going to lose like 2% off my squat, one like 4% off my bench, and then have a good deadlift day. It's like, okay, you know exactly how you feel, and on in your training days, like if you're supplementing with carbs in your workout or electrolytes here and there, it's like, okay, when you have a specific feeling, you know, all right, okay, I need carbs, or you have a specific feeling in your mouth, like, no, I don't need like Gatorade, I specifically need water or anything like that. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, I'm very, very driven by feelings, by bodily feelings, right?
Yeah.
Like everything has to feel a specific way. So
Yeah.
yeah,
If
that's
you
what works for
water
me.
cut, water cutting would suck for you then because you would hate the
it's
way that
not
it
feel good.
feels. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
warm, especially for you too, because like squats like your lift that doesn't click the most or feels the most forward, and you're probably the most nervous for, I'd assume. It's
yeah.
like now you're full of water and like your brace feels different. You're like, no, I'm gonna skip squats,
Yeah.
guy.
Like the times where I'll eat, I don't know, like an hour before training, and as I'm bracing to squat, like I feel like a burp. I'm like, this is the worst thing in the world. I couldn't
Mhm.
imagine now doing it with like a really big bloat and feeling a burp, or just feeling like water trying to like gurgle up. Like, oh my God, that would
Yeah.
that would kill me.
To me, that's even worse on the deadlift. I get that more on deadlift. If you take like too big of a breath or brace too hard and you have too much water in your stomach, that's the worst. Like your esophagus is gonna explode. Like that's the worst feeling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm experimenting it more. Like I think 2024 nationals, I was pretty much under 93 like the whole time, and I was like pushing to whatever get up to there. But yeah, this one I was like, I feel like there's two ways to look at it, especially because like I'm taller. Is like spending time at a heavier body weight is obviously going to be beneficial, and I feel like if
Mhm.
you look at like Gustav, Emil, Keiko, whatever, like they're all probably like even now like I bet 95 point something, maybe 96 kilos.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've noticed that because like I follow both of them very, very religiously. Like when I notice, like I'll notice like, hey, they're getting a little bit smaller. Like it's very marginal, but hey, they're getting a little smaller. And then like, for instance, both of them, I think both Gustav and Emil are coached or have Kedrick doing their nutrition coaching. I could be wrong, but they both hit 93 kilos like 7 weeks out or something like that.
Oh wow.
Like a pretty far ways out. And then the thing that boggled my mind was like they were both like, okay, time to bulk. And I was like, what? Like,
Yeah, I think a
so
lot of people do that. So I was asking you if you kind of like taper off further out to get closer to weight, and then in the last training cycle, like they just want that surplus of calories. You know what I mean? Like I
yeah.
think both Emil and Gustav like are probably just like pushing calories right now, and then they'll do water cut, gut cut like last minute, which sounds crazy, but like yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
that does sound absurd to me.
yeah,
Like it kind of makes like from a what's it called? From like a gut cut standpoint and performance standpoint, that makes a lot of sense because like you're doing your heaviest lifts, you want to be able to recover from them. So you're increasing your calories, and once I would say it's probably a lot easier to lose gut weight when you're in a bulk because like there's always going to be food in your stomach, right? So if you're sitting at 95.5 with a fuckload of food in your stomach and you gut cuts, like okay, your true weight without any stomach mass would probably be like what 94.3. Then you water cut the extra kilo, which is super mild. So it makes a lot of sense, and especially in the side for performance, because you're then uh, minimizing water loss, you're maximizing calories in while you're training. Wow, just breaking this down, I'm like, okay, yeah, I see why
it
everyone
does
does
make sense. Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So it's like, yeah, like maybe that would be definitely something to try, but I would have to I'd have to get over the fear of water cutting.
yeah. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Is like I'm pretty light, like right now, like I'm pretty like almost like underweight. So I'm like, okay, do I start to push the calories as I get into my prep now, or do I just kind of cruise? And I'm kind of on the side of like I just want to be chill at 93, just weigh in, see how I do, and then like
Yeah,
maybe for next
yeah,
meet. But Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think a big thing that a lot of people do is like you have to get used to a protocol that works well for you. So like like you said, they're both 93, then they're gonna go up to probably 95 something and then cut back down and make it easily. And their bodies know what it's like, right? So they're fine. They might even do mock like little trials like you did, like you were going to, and then you gave up. You're like, no, I'm
Yeah,
not.
yeah, no, no.
But but they probably do that, and then they also have like a probably a very similar peaking block and approach to every meet. So now they're not like they know that their body responds well to the cut and the rehydration, and then they're not like worried that like, oh well, what if like the peak or the taper doesn't hit? So they still have, I'm assuming anyway, the feeling of like I know what's gonna happen, I know how I'll feel, and so then like their thought process is like even water cutting or rehydrating, like you're not worried, like you know what's gonna happen.
Mhm.
That's something I wanted to ask you too, like into your training and your prep. Do you guys follow pretty similar approaches? Because you just said like you don't know if you have 3 or 5 heavy lifts left. Like how do you guys go about the peak and then tapering for a meet?
So my peak, it's it's not. I wouldn't necessarily say like it's the biggest peak, like peak where everyone's like pushing threes and twos and all that jazz, and but everything is very very similar to how I run a typical block. So what it generally looks like. Uh, actually, let me. So everything I do is RP based. So um, I'll hit a my top set, which is actually kind of like a what's the word? It's like a, I guess, a baseline set. So it basically tells me what my max is for that specific day, and then based off that, it goes to an RP chart, and I'm supposed to hit whatever rep range at a specific RP, and it'll generate that load. And then each time I hit a set, what it'll do is once I put in an RP for that set, it'll automatically auto regulate the other sets. So if I hit the set at the prescribed RP, it'll stay the same. If I hit it lower than the RP, it'll go up and vice versa. So what my peak generally looks like is essentially just ascending RP for that top set. Um, and it's evolved over time, but now it's very, very gradual ascending, gradually ascends. So it's over six weeks now. And it ascends by essentially half an RP, and we gauge the performance of my back down sets. Well, of both the top set and the back down set. If they're both basically trending upwards, it's like, okay, we're going in the right direction. And then if it's not, then it's like we'll take a look at certain externals and so on. But for this peak, it's basically been just following that protocol, and just, this is gonna sound silly, but just trying a little bit harder on back down sets, because like I think I'm very much a cruiser. So I would just like kind of, it's like if it says to hit, I don't know, a set of six on a squat for at 200 at RP6, sometimes it's like, yep, that was RP6, but then actual fact it was probably like, I don't know, 4. So like it's just actively rating things accurately and just trying to keep everything that I can recover from. So like right now, I think my back downs are at like 5s or something. Actually, let me check. I'm gonna actually do that today, so I should I should probably know what I'm doing. But yeah, this peak has actually been a lot milder than some of the other stuff that I've done, and it feels a lot better because a lot of the demand that I have right now is a lot higher with work and all that jazz, and I'm hitting what's it called, uh, rep PRs and so on for that type of stuff, but generally won't exceed more than 4 sets of back downs, and I generally won't go higher than like an 8 for top sets. And yeah, we kind of just play within that realm, and I would say it's probably more heavily based upon my deadlifts, because my deadlifts is the thing that torches me the most. So uh, once my deadlift gets to a certain point where it's like, okay, you probably won't be able to recover from this, it's kind of the point where it's like, okay, we're gonna pull back. So once my deadlift gets to an RP8 and I hit something at like, I don't know, like high 350s, low 360s, it's like, okay, I need more than 1 week to recover and then be rinse and repeat. So the but I think it's probably going to happen for this, and which is why I was saying I wasn't sure if it was going to be three heavy lifts or 5 heavy lifts, or it might even be 4 heavy lifts, but within that range, because by the time I hit if I were to hit an RP8 deadlift, that would be at 6 days out, and I don't know if 6 days would be enough for me to adequately recover while traveling and all that jazz, right? So I would assume that that's probably going to get pushed to the previous week, and then everything gets pulled down for that later time. But until the sheet is generated and it says, yeah, do this, then I won't know. But the other thing too is, like, because everything is all RP based, I have no problem just down regulating for a top set. So like if let's say I hit 360 this next week, and I'm supposed to hit something at RP8, but the RP8 for that week is actually 310, I got no problem just hitting 310 and then taking that time to recover into the meet, right? As long as the stimulus is there to keep everything moving all right, I don't give a damn. I'll put on the bar whatever the sheet says.
Yeah. So is it always just RPE then? Does he ever give you like a goal or anything like that, or is it just all intuitive based off that RPE?
So so before it used to be just completely intuitive, and we found that I was just consistently overshooting because I was like, I need this number. But now that what he's done now is you take a look at performance from previous week and take a look at performance from previous block, and then that generates a low end and a high end. So our goal effectively is to try and every block to add 2.5 kilos essentially to whatever RP. And obviously, it'll differ for like bench press just because those are larger percentages. But with the bench press, as you've probably seen, I use chip plates and so on. So that one's more specific. Even for the squat, sometimes I'll use chip plates. But now he gives a low end, high end based off that information, and it's been significantly better. I don't feel like I've been hit by a truck every time, so I like it.
Yeah. And so for the chip plates, is it because it's all RPE based? So are you like actively looking to like do this number with the chip in comparison to like previous weeks, or like why do you like to use them?
So I like to use the chips because it would be like, for instance, let's say the percentage. So the percentage increase, let's say I want to get 1% better than last block. And my single at 8 for bench was 200. The next jump for that 1% better would be 202, right? And you can't get that without a chip plate. So that's kind of where those chips kind of come into play. And that 0.5, especially on my bench, because it's such a fast moving thing until it kind of just turns off, that might actually make the difference between hitting the RP that I'd like and getting that stimulus that I want, versus like a slight overshoot and it actually tanking my confidence the next time I have to hit something like that, right? So I think the biggest thing part of my training that's been successful, or the biggest thing that's caused success in my training, is basically planning out my progress in such a way that it's realistic and gives room for whether I need to kind of just stay in my lane and not actually typically like progress, or just take that tiny bit PR, and it's like, okay, cool, I know I'm going in the right direction. That was a little bit heavier, still felt the same. Like I know I'm like, that's a guarantee that I'm getting stronger. That and like I'm pretty sure like I can almost express top end strength like any day of the week, really. But I don't know. Actually, probably if my coach came on, he'd probably be like, "Shut up, you're fucking wrong." But that's how I see it from taking a look at the program and kind of how we go through it. Yeah, it's basically just taking the smallest progression and not having to force anything. Like I don't want to have to push like 6 sets of 5 until I legitimately have to push 6 sets of 5. Like there's no point. If 3 sets will do it, and I'm getting 1% every 16 weeks or however long, I'll take that every day of the week because on my top end strength, that'll be like 5 kilos, right? So I'll take that every day of the week.
Yeah. And how many days are you pressing right now?
So I'm pressing 4 times a week. I do very, very light dumbbell press as well, incline dumbbell press. Well, it's not supposed to be light, but I do it light because it feels like my shoulders will explode otherwise. But and then I press 4 times a week, 2 variations, well, pseudo variation. One's a long pause, and then close grip for another one. Well, close grip, it's pinky on the ring.
Slightly closer. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, my bench press is just like very, very high rep stuff. So like there are some days like at the start of a block, it was actually so mean. He gave me 10s and 12s for my close grip. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah. And my comp bench, like I'll get 8, like you've seen it, I'll get 8s, 7s, 9s, all sorts of things because like I respond well to it. But yeah, very, very high rep range stuff.
my God. Yeah. I see you doing things and it just hurts my feelings. See you doing like 170, 180 for like 8. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, but hey, when I see guys squat like I don't know, like 290 for a triple, I'm like, hey, I guess I'll die. Like,
Some of the
it's
stuff that Liam does on bench, especially because the nature of his bench, like the sink and the toss, like I can't
Mhm.
remember. Like I saw him doing, I don't know, 195 for 5 or something ridiculous. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
what is happening right now?
Yeah, like the thing with like, and I obviously I don't want to throw shade at Liam, but I'm going to anyways. Uh, like the thing with his press, I find that there isn't that good of a translation towards his competition press. Like to me, it's like if you can bench press 500 pounds, but in competition you lose 15 kilos to 215 or something, that is a very, very big discrepancy to me. Like if I pulled 400 kilos and then showed up to competition and pulled 370, everyone would be like, what the fuck, right? Like it's like effectively the same thing, right? And I I think it might be just because of the nature of his bench press, but like the thing is, if that's what's happening in training, there should be something that's changed with your training such that you can actually replicate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely very like skill based, so it's probably really easy to screw up. Like the judging would play a huge role on it, but
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure he still holds the bench record, no? So
Oh,
it's
not anymore. Not
yeah,
anymore.
no?
There's a guy from Saskatchewan. I think Saskatchewan or Manitoba. Um, I don't know his full name, but I think his last name is Christensen or something. He benched 220.5, and he's
Wow.
like consistent. Like he seems like he's bench only, but he doesn't. He did like a 3 lift and took it. So I think he was. I don't know if he likes squatting and deadlifting, but he likes benching. But at least for like that's the feeling I get from watching his training and some of his posts and stuff like that. But yeah, like he is like a flat back, just brute force bencher. It doesn't even seem like he uses too much leg drive. Pretty sure he was like doing like long pauses with like 210 or 200, and it's like he's a really jacked dude though. Like he's really, really filled out, but even still, like that type of bench, I understand it's different. There's less skill expression and so on, but at the same time, like that guy hit like 222 or 225 in training and then hit 220.5 on the platform. That type of discrepancy, like, okay, cool. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Even with my bench, I would say that my bench is relatively dependent on my technique, because if anything goes wrong, it's like, okay, well, this could either fly towards my face or my shoulder's gonna fucking explode. And like, I think there's a 2.5 kilo discrepancy between my bench and the best bench I've had in competition. And like, yeah, 15 kilos is just too much. Like you do that with any lift, 15 kilos is too much, unless you've missed the lift, right?
Yeah, I
But
feel like it is for sure more common on bench too, but like there's those like anomalies that could somehow like Like I think of like Keiko, for example. It's like
Yeah.
I don't understand what he's like. He'll do like 250 like pretty commonly in prep, but like at PA Nats, it looked like he could have pressed like 260 if he wanted to.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, he went on the podcast and was like, "Yeah, I was good for 260." And
Yeah.
the thing that's crazy is like Keiko is not a boisterous or overconfident person. So if he says he has something, it's like he most likely has it. Like there's a
Well,
time.
sometimes like I feel like in his comeback right now, like me and Trevor would always send it. Like
Some of
he
his
would squat
posts,
like
yeah.
he would squat 300 and it'd be like hard, like at 9. He's like good for 325 today. We're like,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, well, the thing that's really interesting about him, or at least I find really interesting about him, like, I think he has like or what I like to call like the speed inflection point. So it's like once you start going up to a certain weight, there's always going to be like a specific threshold where you can't move the bar any faster, and then it'll start what's it called, declining in speed. But it for him, it literally looks like he'll hit that point, but it's almost like he has a flat, like instead of it going up, hitting a peak and coming straight down, it's like he hits that point and then it's like a flat line for a while, then starts coming down. So like for instance, he pulled like 320. I'm like, man, that looked fucking hard. And then like you'll see him pull like 355 in training and it looks the exact same. Then he pulled 357 in comp day, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, like he definitely had a little bit more. It's moving slower, but like even still, like it's kind of just like that flat line, which is it's interesting for to see from person to person.
Yeah. That one, like when I think he said I could have pulled 8 that day. I actually believed him. I was like, yeah, his pull was
Yeah.
good that day. Yeah.
Yeah, he was on. He
Yeah.
was on.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't add too much to his pull. So
What do you expect those guys to hit? Like, or what are your predictions for the 93 class? If you want to give them, if not, then it's fine.
yeah, I could give him. So okay, so like predictions, like placing or like totaling.
I think like a little both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just run through the day how you see it happening.
Okay. So this is so I think it's like there is. I'm going to lump Emil and Gustav together, basically as like one prediction because their splits are very very similar, and it's going to depend on who hits last or who hits their deadlift last. I think Emil has a slightly larger deadlift than Gustav. I think. Honestly, I'm not even sure. They might have the same deadlift because Gustav's last deadlift that I saw was really well, and Emil's last deadlift didn't, but there was a weight discrepancy. But anyways, I would say there's a high chance Keiko will win. So I'm going to say I'm going to say 40% and then 30-30 for the other two. The reason I say that is Keiko can dictate what they have to load because he's going to pull before them and has a larger bench and gets a chip earlier. So if he can, let's say he pulls 365, benches 257 or 260, and squats 312 or something like that, right? They're going to have to load, unless their squats and bench have gone up substantially, they're going to have to load something heavier on the deadlift. And as well, because if Keiko goes 6 for 6, he's basically putting himself in a much better position than if they were to go 6 for 6. Because if they have to try and pace with him on the bench press and they miss one bench, it's like, okay, they're cooked, right? Because then they'll have to load like 390 or like 380 something, and that's like extremely dicey. So that's why I have a higher percentage on Keiko winning and then 30-30 on the other two. But at the same time, like, I would say Gustav is a little bit more of a wild card because he just had a coaching change. He's doing significantly more heavier training. And it looks like it's doing well for him, but I don't know how that'll show up for his top end on the day of. And then Emil is just consistent. Like he's very, very consistent. So as long as like it depends on what the subtotal is for Keiko. If Keiko has a massive day on a subtotal, I think he wins. If he has an average day, then I think it's going to be a flip of a coin between Gustav and Emil. But yeah, like, and then also the other part is Emil and Gustav pushing one another, and Keiko will just be like, "Hey, thanks, thanks for doing that," right? Because a lot of his totals back end or front ended, right? So it'll be, yeah, I would say if everyone hits, I think it goes, I want to say Emil, Gustav, Keiko. That's how I would say if everyone hits. If anyone misses, Keiko wins, I think.
Yeah. Do you think it'll be Keiko's going to hit that total? They're going to pull after. Like you assume that's how it's probably going to lay out because Keiko doesn't really miss stuff, right? And
Yeah,
like as long as he doesn't try and go for like that big squat because he feels like he needs to, then he'll probably go 9 for 9 and then they pull after. And you're just like, how much will Keiko's subtotal be? Is pretty much, yeah.
exactly. Because like I think, because even if Keiko gets to, let's say he goes 365, let's say he adds 2.5 kilos in those 8 weeks, and he's able to execute and hit 365 on the platform. Emil still says that he wants to pull 370 plus, which is definitely plausible. Gustav but he pulled 360 and he had definitely a lot of room in the tank, and that was a while ago. So he might try to pull somewhere into the 370s. It's when it gets into like the 380s that it's a little bit dicier for them. So again, yeah, if Keiko goes 9 for 9, which he has a high track record of doing, I think he wins. If he misses a squat, if he misses a bench, then he's fucking cooked because that's like 15 kilos. but if he and then if he has like a slightly off day, then it's a flip of the coin for literally anyone. Then that can shuffle in any way, shape, or form. And I think that's awesome. That's like the coolest thing. And it's great because I get to watch them warm up and be like, damn, that looked good. Damn, that was crazy.
Well, one thing I'll say, it's so hard to bet against Keiko because like I bet against him at PA Nats. I was just like, because I thought Gavin's top end always looks ridiculous, but he is such a wild card. So I bet on Gavin. I'm like, oh, yep, Keiko's on. It's over. Like Keiko's is really hard to bet against. But I will say after nationals, like his training hasn't looked the same as like pre-nationals. Like, like coming in, like he was like steamrolling PRs like every day, whatever. And then like coming off of the nationals win, like I don't know if he's actually got up to the same like training momentum again. So I guess we'll see with that.
Yeah, the only thing with that, like, while I understand that, like the thing is that it's like not like at least the way I look at it, it's not like his true strength is going to diminish, right? Like what's probably happening is he he had a lot of time to build to exact different like specific checkpoints and all that type during his comeback to PA Nats. Whereas now he has that, I think it's like 10 weeks total, I think. And it could be like, hey, we're just trying to drop some of the fatigue that we built from that competition because fucking blew your load. And he still has three-ish weeks, and I think he hit his week 1 at 320. So if he gets like another 2-3 weeks, hits like 345, it's a little less than what he hit for his PA Nats competition or comp prep. But at the same time, like that might give him more time to recover into the actual meet and perform at his best, right? Like there's so many different ways to look at it, because like a lot of the PRs that we see are like rep PRs, right? Like he might hit like a set of 5 or a set of 4, and it's like these are massive numbers. But at the same time, you don't necessarily need to hit those massive numbers for those rep PRs to be primed for that 1 rep max on the comp day. So, and like, yeah, at this point, I don't think he needs to build strength. I think he just needs to get it to express again, right? So, yeah, it'll be cool to see if he can get that expression back. But yeah, like that's why I think it'll still be like a dogfight between the 3 of them, because like if he gets the expression back, I think he's still good for 930 because he hit 928 in the gym, I think. And then everyone else is still kind of Emil was like 930 is fucking trash. I don't care, because he did that like one that one mock meet, and I think he hit 900 pretty easily or something like that. And then Gustav is just Gustav, man. Like you can never count the dude out. Like he's just he's a fierce competitor. So
yeah,
I think honestly Gustav looks pretty dangerous right now.
Yeah,
I know he did have the coaching switch, but like I think he squatted 330. Like Gustav is the kind of person, like I feel like he's kind of like me. Like his strength expression is very muted by like his fatigue. So like when I see Gustav doing something big like in training like that, I'm like, oh, like he's
yeah.
he's
And it was
gonna
like
be And he hit an all-time bench PR, I think, too. I think it's like 222, like moved pretty good, like room in the tank.
Yeah.
So
Like the only comment I have on Gustav's training is, and like I think a lot of people do this, but I think it's more so common with Gustav's training. He doesn't necessarily pause that long on some of his bench presses. And I think that might be the only thing that would just like dampen his top end expression in competition. Like he might hit 220 or, but then again, he might be doing all this type of stuff under fatigue. So he might actually be able to pause that 222 or 225 on the day of. But yeah, that's the only question mark that I have where I'm like, we'll see.
I always
We'll
talk
see.
about it. Like he'll just bench touch and go, and then like
Yeah.
like he could pause it like on me.
Yeah, that's like, how do you do that? How do you do that? That's craziness.
Yeah, I think it's because he's like just pure strength, like in his bench. Like it's kind of pretty long, like not like super wide grip. His arch isn't crazy. He just brings it down and he just like goes. But yeah, on the meet day when he actually has to pause it, it's crazy that he's able to.
Yeah. And like it doesn't even look like it's like one of those things where like you'll touch and you're kind of like waving around because you're like, ah, shit, this is kind of hard. It's just like fucking robotic.
Hold it, yeah.
just
One
straight
thing I
press
found
through.
funny about Gustav this prep is like everything he does right now, he's like looking at the camera.
Yeah.
It's like 290, like stands up, he like glares at the camera. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, he's like,
He's
up
feeling
right now.
good.
Yeah.
He's ready for sure.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see. It's gonna be really cool to watch. It's gonna be really cool to watch. Yeah.
Do you think
about Christian? Because I feel like Christian is nominated 4th, right?
Yeah. Nominated 870, 8.5.
Yeah. What do you think he could put up if he like has a really good day?
I think Christian could hit 900. I do. The only thing is Christian's very, very hit and miss. And like following his training and so on, he's been saying that he's been having like worse externals, things been picking up at work, all that type of stuff. So like it's going to be hard to gauge where he's sitting, but no, I think might have been Euros this year that he hit like 860 something, and then before that nationals he hit 878. I don't know how prepared he was for the Euros because or how hard he was going because it was kind of like right in the middle between worlds, and he's probably thinking, if I want to be the person that could sneak in for a podium spot or anything like that, he should prioritize his world's position because the top three, like, they're going to be going at each other's throats, right? So like that leaves the door open if anyone misses anything. So I don't know how crazy he went for that Euros prep, but my thing is, even for like previous years, and I would say this is a little unfair because it's been like so up and down. I don't know what his life circumstances. I don't know what his stresses are. His totals just kind of been like up and down, up and down, up and down. So this could be the worlds where it hits that uptick and he totals like fucking 930, goes insane, or it could be the downtick and he totals 850, right? So.
Yeah. I feel like that Euros he was trying to keep it more laid back, but I feel like I watched it and it didn't look that easy. But like I think he probably just wasn't pushing that hard like into that meet to try to have that really big meet. He's definitely prioritizing worlds for sure. But it's the same thing. Like he makes a big swing like for podium and misses, like that also leaves the door.
yeah. I might slide in, but if I make a big swing and miss. But the other thing is I heard that he got food poisoning before Euros too. So I don't know how big of an impact that has for him because I don't think I've ever gotten, knock on wood, holy shit, I don't think I've ever gotten food poisoning or anything like that before a comp like that. So I can't speak to that, but I'm sure that had some influence. I don't know how much it would.
Yeah, no, food. I guess there's a lot of variability in that, but food poisoning is very rough. Like I've had food poisoning in a meat prep before. That's like lost like 2 kilos of body weight, and like you pretty much lose like a week of training. Like it's bad. But
yeah,
yeah.
If you lost,
that was in Euros prep, you said that happened to him.
Yeah, the Euros prep, I believe, but like I think 4 days out, he got like food poisoning. I think Matt Gary was saying something about that. Don't quote me on that, but I think on one of the podcasts they said that he got food poisoning, but he still did a really good job given the circumstance. So I'm not sure if he was on the day, he could have been good for 890 or something based off his training and so on. It was like the same thing where Matt was talking about how Jurens was like good for like, I don't know, like 890. I think it was at Sheffield based off his training, but it didn't come together. So yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see because that adds a lot more, another layer to top three and so on. But yeah.
So best case, one of them in the top three has a bad day. Christian has a bad day, and then Kwaku just loads the 400 and either
Yeah.
wins or podium.
Yeah. Best case scenario is like I don't know what happens. Like I don't know, I crack my knee the right way and I start squatting like 330. Crack my back and I deadlift 500. Yeah, done deal.
Yeah, well, your other two lifts are very like up there with everyone else, right? Like besides Keiko's bench, because that's just insane. But your
Yeah.
deadlift and your squat, or your bench and your deadlifts are definitely in the combo, right? Like they'll probably bench like around 220, like Emil's a little better, but I guess um
Like
Gustav and then
Emil and
everyone
Keiko are the
else.
outliers for bench, but other than that, it's like right in the pack. Right.
Yeah. Like it'll be we'll see what happens because um also there's someone who's probably won't be mentioned either. Probably even on like other preview shows, but I think his name's Eduardo Musicelli.
Oh yeah,
He was
yeah, I know him. He was
yeah,
he
he was
won
an
junior
83.
83 world or something.
Yeah, exactly. He moved up as well, and right now he's nominated at 798, 798.5. But he has had, I think, a year and a half to train at 93, and I think he recently squatted his comp max for a triple. So like,
Oh, wow.
so like, there's a lot of reshuffling that's going to happen of that nomination list, and then I don't know where his deadlift or his bench sits, but if it's within that like 200 205 range, if anything, if anyone misses a third, it's like, and he hits his third, it's like, okay, there's just a lot of reshuffling that can happen there. But if Emil misses a third, or actually if Gustav misses a third, or Christian misses a third, I could potentially, if my stars align, it would have to be they have a bad day and I have a great day. That would basically let me slide in for potentially a bench medal, but very, very potential. Who knows? I might say all this shit and fucking bench 202 and go 1 for 3. But but yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And then if I can hit a third deadlift, I should be good to get a deadlift medal. I should have been good to get a deadlift medal for the past 2 years, but you know how that goes.
So, how many deadlifts do you think we'll see above 800 then?
Above 800. I'm gonna say 4. I think 4.
Wow.
Like 800 and above.
Successfully?
Successfully, I'm gonna say 3.
And you're
Actually,
one
you know
of
what?
them, right?
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say 4 just in case, because that includes myself. So everyone's gonna hit.
If you look at the top nominations, it's kind of wild. Like, so top, I think it's 6. The deadlifts are 355, 357, 357, 360, 365. Like they're all
Yeah,
like
yeah.
right there, neck and neck. So
Also, yeah, that France guy, he pulled 358, 350 or 358 and a half.
yeah.
It's not
Oh,
nominated
wow.
there because that was
And then
at
there's
the other
Alex
meet.
too. Like Alex might pull it from the B session, right? Yeah.
Yeah, fucking
Yeah.
that fucking guy, dude. Leave my deadlift. Leave it alone. Let me just have it.
You said his training's been going really well. I don't think I've seen much of it, but he's been having a good prep.
Yeah, he I don't know how I saw it. I'm not sure if it was a story or a post, but he posted something and then it was deleted because I went to go look back and it was just gone. I was like, the fuck? But he squatted 300 at like RP 8, benched 182
Oh, wow.
and a half, I think at 8, and then deadlifted 360 at 8 and a half. So I think it all added up to like 840 something, I think, if my math is correct. Probably not, but I think 842, maybe.
Dang. He's funny because I remember in prep for 2024 Nats, he posted a story, and I don't know what was up with it, but it was like a 320 pull, and he just like blatantly failed it. Like it was like it like didn't budge off the floor. I was like, what is happening? And then like right before the meet, I think he pulled something good, like 350, like really
Yeah,
fast. Yeah.
like he was saying that he was having a lot of technical issues with his bench, or not his bench, his deadlift.
Okay.
And I think he had mentioned that in like the little video that we had done leading into Nationals 2025, because yeah, he said he had to go back to his tried and true technique, which like, well, duh.
The thing I found most impressive on him, I don't know if you've seen it, but like I think it was every deadlift, or at least a couple of them, he would put it down, his glasses would fall off, and then he would like catch them like fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's got the sense for it. Yeah, he's a nice guy too. You know, I really wish there were more assholes in powerlifting, so it made it easier to be like, just to be like.
I remember he is a super nice guy. I was just really obviously I was salty. I had a terrible day that day, the nationals. But yeah, he was super nice, and you were nice in person too. And because I think that was the first time that we met in person, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then now you guys got Evans looking really good. There's lots of the junior 93s are looking freaky too in Canada. Like
yeah.
Yeah, Evan going into this nationals, I was like, holy shit, he's looking strong.
yeah. I had been projected like I had you projected at like 850. I had him projected at like I think like 840, 837, 840, and I was like, God damn, fucking chill, guys, just for a sec.
I was hoping to have a really good day too, but then I don't know if you've seen my opening squat. I literally like lost balance. And I was like, oh fuck yeah. So I like stood up, I lost balance, and then obviously that like derailed the plan. But I knew Evan was gonna be strong, so I still jumped 15 kilos, like despite missing. So I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
End up with what I wanted. But yeah, even that Caden kid, the junior, he's really strong. Like I think he totaled 808 with a missed third deadlift too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
welcome.
There's another 93 from Alberta as well that I don't know his actual name, but I think his Instagram handle is like Lem Lifts or something. And he squats. He's getting close to like a 320 squat, and I think he's like 20 or something like that. It's like, where are these fucking children coming out of the woodwork squatting 700 pounds?
Like, it's good though. Even like Thomas Franco just did 810 like really easily at the meet that he just did. So everyone's coming up. It's good.
Yeah, but
closer to that 900.
Stop.
Me and Evan were talking because I think Taylor's doing an IPF, so it's like Taylor's just gonna shit on us like, no matter what we do. But like even like Joe Bornstein doing 900, like it's like
that's the other thing that makes me sour. Like I'm happy for them; they're doing great. It's fucking amazing. So cool to watch, but at the same time, I'm like, guys, relax, because now I look like doo-doo. I need to get better, but still, you guys are getting better too fast. Yeah.
I think this next I think 2026 nationals in Canada will be a pretty big step up. I think for everyone, because now we'll all be back together. It'll be a good time, like good amount of time for everyone to train. So I think it'll be
good. I'm excited about that. No westerns or anything like that. Just head to head. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Because now
that was crazy.
I can't even say fucking 3-time national champion. I have to say only 2-time.
Man, you could have came. You could have came to the 2025 Nats.
No, dude, that would have been expensive.
Did you consider it or no? You're just like, nah.
No, it was like the way I thought about it was like I didn't want to do an APF and I didn't want to qualify for anything else. So I was like, there's no point.
Yeah, it would just be money.
Money.
I think I was at the gym with Luke and I pulled up like how they do like a lifter registration list or something.
Mm-hmm.
I clicked on it and I looked it up and it said you and Alex like both signed up and I thought it was 2025 Nats and I was like, what? Like, because I was pretty much sure both you guys weren't gonna do it. And then I found it was the 2024 list. I was like, what the
Yeah, that was funny. He's like, oh shit. He's like, this is gonna be good. And then we look again, it says 2024. It's like that one happened already, bro.
Because I assumed like with Worlds and everything, obviously didn't make sense either, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, One thing I wanted to say too before we end off this convo is like with the Evan Seymour come up, because me and Kyle like live in the same area kind of as him, and he came to our gym and he joined and he wasn't really like into powerlifting at all in like 2021 I believe was the time frame, and me and
Mhm.
Kyle like spotted him and he failed a triple on squat at 200 kilos like in 2021 or something, and I'm like now this guy's about to squat 7. It's just so
Yeah.
crazy.
See, one thing with him is he is basically built the exact same way as Adam Jansen. Like,
Hmm.
just he's just a fucking ball of meat. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's kind of like even the way they I wouldn't say this the squat, but like the way they bench is pretty similar. It seems like it's kind of just like not like the overly large arch, not overly crazy leg drive, kind of just like again brute forcing. Even their deadlift seems pretty similar too. It's just like they just cloned him and said, "Okay, now go up." Like,
That was the big thing with Evan, I think, that was holding him back was his deadlift. So then, like, because I remember Luke was saying, like, because Evan signed up and Luke was like, yeah, Evan's going to be like a threat. And, like, I didn't really, his best total before was like 760. So I was like, okay, like, I think it should be fine. But then I think he pulled like a 310, like super fast. I was like, oh shit, like, looks like he could pull like 330. And then if he could do that, like, he's just so well, if he pulls 330, that's such like a well rounded total. Like, it would have been a big day.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about? Have you been seeing Russ's training?
Yeah, yeah.
What is
Like,
happening with that?
that's that 355 squat was fucking absurd.
Yeah.
That was so fast.
Like I was expecting him to do his thing where he like grinds and stuff, and he gets up and does a smile, but he just popped out. I was like, yeah. I was like, oh, whoa, this is
Yeah.
this is kind of crazy. Even his bench, like I didn't expect that at all. Like,
No,
and then his dead, like if he holds on to it, like I think that like what would I put him at? I think
it was gonna be
855.
935, and like it looked like he could have squatted 10 more. That's 955.
Yeah.
Like it looked like he
Yeah,
could have squatted 8, like, and he'll probably bench 220 soon. And if he could just hold on to that deadlift, he's gonna be totaling 950.
Yeah.
and he's coming
Well,
up to 93. Oh my god,
Yeah.
he's gonna total 1,000 to 93.
No,
Imagine.
no.
well, the thing about that deadlift is like, yeah, he's always had kind of some grip problems at that very top end, but he didn't even have baby powder on, I think, for the 365 pull. Like, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure, unless I'm remembering wrong, but it looked like he just got to the top pretty much and like he had to rub against his giant legs and then just pops open.
See,
But
I think there's two ways it goes down for us if he goes up to 93. Like his squat and bench will absolutely explode, but I think his deadlift, there's two ways it goes. It's either his legs get so large that he just can't lock anything out, he just can't get it past his fucking leg because there's just that much meat, or his grip, like that happens and his grip just gets so strong because he just tacked on so much meat onto his forearms and he never drops deadlift again.
Yeah. I think he's
well,
going to be a big threat. Like, I think Russ, as soon as he comes, I feel like will be an immediate contender. Because, like, if you, like, let's be real, like, he's not, like, in his regular training, like, before, he's, like, 200 pounds. Like, like, so that's, like, I feel like that's, like, his regular, like, training. Like, if you remember way back, like, when he was doing all those crazy lifts in the gym, like, at
Mhm.
83, but, like, they're all, like, on pound plates and stuff. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure, like, that's
yeah.
probably what he was walking around at.
I think Joey had mentioned that he was like 195 or 19 like 190 something, but like but even still.
That's what
But
he said.
yeah.
But I don't know, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess 195 is what basically 90 kilos anyways, so
Yeah.
well, I think the one thing with his deadlift is that whenever he cuts, it's pretty bad, the grip. Or maybe it's just like when he's lighter and then fatigue gets to his grip as well. But it's
mhm.
always like after he cuts that his grip is the biggest problem. So I don't know if it's like, because imagine we were talking about water cutting and like you had a horrible experience in your first go. But
Yeah.
imagine like doing that from like going to 183 from he probably cuts down to 195. So he's probably like, I'm all making this up, but like around like 7 to 10 pounds or maybe more of a water cut, water load. Then he squats the world and then he benches after that. And his hands are probably just like very like they're coming back, getting thicker again or whatever it is. But I think that's probably a big deal for him too.
Yeah. I've also heard that like one of the I don't know how true this is, but I've heard that grip strength is a very, very good marker for CNS fatigue.
Yeah,
So
I
like
agree.
after getting torched, like getting fucking obliterated by 340, 350, I'm sure it's pretty tough to hold on to anything.
Mhm.
And then on top, like I would be like, hey, right, you try hook grip, but at the same time, like, yeah, I don't know how reliable that is either if your hands
Mhm.
are puffing and all that jazz.
Yeah, and I don't think he's well, he's obviously quite a short guy. I don't know how like his probably maybe similar to me, like your thumb's just a little thicker than it is like long. It's not like a super long thumb that you can wrap around, and with the bloating and stuff might not be good.
See, I don't know. See, I don't know. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I think. So Russ he already has long arms. Like he's definitely what's it called? Built pretty well to deadlift. Um, the thing with his hands, like he holds it relatively like low in his hands. It looks so. It seems like his hands has to be pretty big because he doesn't feel comfortable to like hold the bar tight in his hand, right? Either that, or I'm thinking of someone else. But um, I would assume that he would have like hands large enough to what's it called to do it because like even like his arms are long. I would hope that his hands are proportionate to his arms because then he might just look like he has baby hands. But like um, uh, yeah, like I would think there's some correlation between arm length and hand
Yeah.
size. And then on top of that, like if his body already wants to grow to 93 and he's always consistently been holding it back, like his frame has to be large enough to support that. And I would assume, again, this is all assumption and speculation. I would assume his hand side would have to be indicative of that too. Because like you look at all the larger sized 120s, 105s, and they look like fucking have like basketball player hands, right? So
Yeah.
like
Well, whichever one of us sees him next, I was gonna say you at Worlds, but Russ isn't going. Just walk up to him like this and be like, "All right, let's compare hands." You
yeah.
gotta know, man.
Yeah, before you see it, it's just like tiny baby.
If that happens, be like, oh, that's why. Walk away.
I'd probably get jumped. Like, oh my god, talking that much shit, that'd be crazy.
Well, it was really nice having you on, man. Is there anything else you want to chat about or bring up, like shout out some sponsors or anything like that before we go?
Yeah, I'll shout out SB Canada because they're fantastic sponsors. Same with True North Sport. Uh, they are great, have great sportswear, super soft. They have sweaters and stuff too. They live in their shit. It's fantastic, top notch. Um, and yeah, that's about it. That's about it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. And then so for the sportswear, you have a code, you have a code or something like that?
Yeah. It's Quakes 15, like Quakes in my handle. So like Quaker Oats, but without the R. Quakes 15. You get 15% off. Yeah.
Where did that come from? Where did the Instagram name come from?
It's a nickname I always got when from my brothers when I was like 6 or 7 years old. So it's just a family nickname. And then 93 just because I was like, fuck it, 93, why not? And then I turned out to be a 93.
I thought it was some shit because you're a big deadlift. When you like drop the deadlift, it's like earthquake or some shit.
no, no, like yeah, I've been called so many different forms of quakes, and then also like the other one was going to be the first iteration was actually going to be Oats 93 because for for the longest time it was either Quakes or Oats that I was getting called by my brothers. So I was like, Oats is like I like that one better because like powerlifters eat oats all the time and all that type of shit, and it's a nickname, and then but that was already taken, so I don't know who the fuck has that.
What about
That was
Oats?
pretty
Oats
close.
93 is taken as well.
Yeah,
Oh
and I
wow.
wasn't messing around with any underscores or anything like that, so it's like
Yeah.
whatever, whatever.
That's too funny. Well, yeah, I actually did see like I think Mally and Colton, a few others are sponsored by True North, is it? Apparel.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I want to check their stuff out for sure. So anyone listening, definitely use code Quakes.
yeah, yeah.
And then you have the SPD link as well, right?
Yeah, that's links in my bio. It won't get you guys anything, but it'll help your boy out. So if
Yeah,
you
you gotta
like me.
support it. Yeah, Kyle and Trevor also shouting out theirs. Did you sell lots of sleeves when they did the band?
No, I don't think I got a single person to use my code. But I think I was like, I think I plugged it once, and then people were like, "These fucking SPD athletes." Just plug it once. I was like, "Oh, okay, damn, all right, I'll back up."
Okay, well, whoever's listening, please use his code. He needs the code usages.
Yeah, help me out.
Bro, I remember the first person that used my code, I saw the kickback and it was like, I think it was like $2. And I was like, bro, what did they buy? Like, it was like a pair of socks.
Well, that's why you just got to get lots of code usages and then it'll add up.
Yeah, every time I'm thinking like, wow, I see people with their codes, I'm like, man, they must be making so much money. Then you get a code, you're like, wow, I'm not making shit.
Maybe when you pull the world record, in a
Yeah,
few
yeah.
weeks, just maybe that'll work.
I feel like it's people with the sponsors or the supplement sponsorships. I feel like it'd be really good, like stuff that you buy recurring. Like you're like
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
buying
yeah.
the
That's
pre-workout or something. Yeah.
no, that's
yeah,
where it's at for real. Because people like you buy pre or protein all the time, and it's a reoccurring thing. And if they know, okay, code Kyle, like you just use it monthly, and that's you can make a lot of money in other areas of fitness more so than powerlifting. Like
Yeah.
the just girls with the big Instagram or dudes with the big Instagram just post your physique and you have a code.
yeah.
It's like you can make bank.
But yeah, I think I like food too much to do that. And knowing me, I'd probably have to eat like 1,200 calories.
Oh yeah, you'd be going through it, man.
Yeah. For my livelihood, yeah, no way, dude,
Yeah.
no way.
All right, man. Well, thank you for coming on. Good luck at Worlds. Pull that world record for us. And yeah, we'll see you, I guess, in next Nationals 2026.
Yeah, sounds good. And thank you.
Yeah, man. Good look at
All
Worlds.
right.
Thanks again. Have a good
Yep.
one, guys.
Take care.